Hey everybody, good evening and happy International Child-Free Day. Can you believe that this is a day that we get to celebrate? So International Child-Free Day, just so you know, actually started back in the 1970s. So it was actually called Non-Parents Day. And then in about 2013, a group of bloggers and authors got together and decided they would reinvent the day, and that's how we know it today as International Child Free Day, that happened back in about 2013. So it's been happening for a little while. It's probably not one of those things that is on a lot of people's radars, though. I know I hadn't really sort of heard about it too much before I wrote my book. So that's why we have days like this, so we can get a whole heap of coverage out there and share what is happening out in the world with child-free people. So if anyone has been on my Facebook page today, they have seen probably a hell of a lot of activity happening. It's been a very, very busy day. I have been up since 4 a.m. this morning. It's now 7 p.m. here in Brisbane, so it's been a very long day. And so the first thing on the agenda for me this morning was to film a segment with Sunrise, which is a national TV program here in Australia, which was absolutely amazing, although it was absolutely freezing where we filmed. So I swear it's the coldest I've been all winter. And from there I went over to ABC Radio, filmed a segment with those guys. We had some coverage on news. There was an article in Women's Agenda, and we're waiting for the article to come out on Mamamia. So it's been an amazing day. It's been great to have all these conversations today about our child-free choices, and I'm really stoked to be able to continue that conversation this evening with my very special guest, Claire. Now I can see Claire's on, so I'm going to try and bring Claire on, and we're going to have a chat to her about her life as a child-free woman and her choices and everything that involves. So and I do have a glass of wine in hand as well. It's 7 p.m. And it's International Child-Free Day. So grab a glass of wine, guys, and join in the conversation. So let me just see if I can invite. So let's just give this a minute to click over. And it's connecting. Hey!
Oh, hello, it worked. Can you hear me?
Cheers, honey.
Oh, I should have a wine, I know.
What?
I should.
I'm surprised that you don't. What is going on there?
Oh, look, none in the house. All used.
That's just so wrong on so many levels, Claire.
No, I know. Oh, congratulations. I've been following you today. You've done amazingly getting the message out there. I think it's great.
Thank you. It's been a bit of a crazy day. I haven't got too much work done for my clients today, but there's been it's just been a whirlwind of interviews and emails and people just reaching out and saying thank you for sharing the message, and you know that's why I love doing this and having these conversations, because it's me being able to amplify people's stories, and everyone has their own unique story, and this is what I love about this whole process. So
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
great. It's just a great day to have you on.
Thank you. I'm glad I got to come on this special day.
Thank you. Well, you've been the highlight of my evening.
Great.
So, Claire, before we get started, can you maybe set the scene and tell people a little bit about yourself? So, where you live. I mean, I know where you live, but the rest of the audience doesn't. So, where you live, how old you are, and a little bit about, I suppose, your decision in terms of your choice to be child-free.
Yeah. So I live in Brisbane and quite near the city. I'm quite a city slicker, and I like that. Probably a choice to not be in the burbs with all the kids, which is good. I'm 35. I'm married. I got married last year to a gentleman who actually has a couple of kids, but they are grown up and flown the nest, which is good for me. So I know we talk about being child-free by choice and child-free choices, but to be perfectly honest, for me, being child-free was never a choice. Not that I can't have kids. For me, it was, I just knew that I wouldn't. I just knew. There wasn't ever a point in time, I don't think, where I consciously made a decision, I'm not going to have kids. I just knew I wouldn't. So it was
very... I was always the same. It wasn't a decision. It was just like, well, I just don't want them. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very distinctly remember as a child of about 11 in year 6 talking to the other little girls, and you do say this as well, you know, we're conditioned with our dolls and our toys and things that we play with that we're going to be mums. And talking about, you know, when we have babies, and I remember saying, oh, well, I'm not having babies. And I was a child myself. And it's...
Did you find back then, and you might not remember this, but did you find that got a little bit of reaction back then, and people go, oh, you're silly, you know, you'll change your mind? Do you even remember that?
The reaction of young girls was, oh, well, everyone has babies. Everyone has babies. Like, what are you talking about? Everyone has babies. Of course you are. Yeah. Of course you're having babies. Why wouldn't you?
Oh, well,
that's what we do.
We've all heard it.
It's what we're made for. And I thought, well, don't be ridiculous. I'm going to have a career and I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to travel, and that's what I'm doing with my life, and you guys can do whatever you want. So that's kind of where I've come from a very, very young age, knowing that it just wasn't for me. I'm just not maternal. You know, kids are fine. For me personally, probably in smaller doses. Not that I hate kids, and I hang out with my friends who've got children, and I love my niece to pieces. Like, I absolutely adore her. Yeah. But I think I've explained it, you know, like, there's a lot of things that you do in life and you don't mind doing it, and it's okay while you do, but you don't want to do it 24/7, you know? And that's me. I don't want to do that 24/7. So being able to have some fun with my niece and doing those things, and then being able to say bye and give her to mum when she's throwing tantrum, perhaps. That's for me, you know. But it has been a challenge, like, growing up.
I can totally relate to that. And you...
Yeah. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
So you go. No, you continue.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, I think. It's something I've always said since I was quite young, and it's something I've always been quite upfront and open with people, and you know, there are some occasions that I don't say anything, but because I've always known since I was quite young, when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, saying, oh, I'm never having kids, it used to infuriate me. The reaction was always, you'll change your mind, you've got time, oh, your body clock will kick in, you'll definitely have kids. Oh, I've heard that before. You're too young to know yourself, you know. And it's kind of nice, like, the one thing I don't mind.
That was never one of my favourites, that one. You don't know. Yeah, that was always like, you're too young.
Like, your life is never going to have true meaning. You'll never know what love is. Yeah. You know, the list goes on. And some things highly offensive, to be honest. I've even had people say, well, you must have been abused. How incredibly offensive is that?
Really?
You must have had a terrible childhood. You must have had something horrible happen, or somebody did something horrible to you, because otherwise there's no other way that you wouldn't want to have children yourself, you know, which I found just unbelievably offensive. But that they're the kinds of reactions I've got. And
I think you raised a really good point.
Sorry, go on.
You raised a really good point there before, Claire, about that choice and not hating kids, but just not wanting to spend time with them 24/7. And I think that's a really great way of actually articulating that, because I know myself, I'm the same. I love my nieces and nephews, and I love spending time with my friends' kids and so forth. But exactly that, in small doses, where I get that little fix and go, okay, now it's time to go back. I don't want this all the time. And I think that's actually a really healthy way of looking at it. Because a lot of people don't think, well, small doses is good, but 24/7 is a very, very different story,
it's a huge commitment. Absolutely. And I mean, I have some friends, friends' kids who are just utterly adorable. They're so cute. I get to have a little play with them. I get to regress. I get to, you know, go into the sand pit and do all of those things and be a child. again. But yeah, it's just not something I want to do all the time, you know.
Yeah.
And also the responsibility that comes with that and everything. And call me selfish, don't worry, plenty of people have, but I don't want to. I don't have the
I would
patience.
never call you selfish because I don't think you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
honestly,
think it's
sorry, I
sorry,
think it's quite
go.
selfish. There's plenty of people, I think, that are questioning whether they want to have children and perhaps don't, and bow to pressure or do it to carry on the name or whatever else it is. And I think really that's quite a selfish attitude to have as well, because you know, having a child because you want to be able to say that you've had a child is not a reason to do it. If you don't have that love and you don't have that instinct, then probably don't. You know, there's
pros and cons against both sides of the argument, isn't there? And exactly that. We're no more selfish for choosing to do what's right for their life as they are selfish choosing to do what's right for them. And it is,
absolutely.
it's totally infuriating to hear that you're selfish, but it's like, well, how am I more selfish than you?
Yeah, exactly. You did what you wanted, but you're not selfish. I'm doing what I want, but I am selfish. It's
and you're selfish.
Yeah, it's a silly argument for me. But I think the one thing that I'm enjoying about aging, not many things, but as I get older, it's taken till now at 35 that people actually take me seriously when I say that I don't want kids. It's taken till now that they go, oh, okay, maybe she means it, because God, you know, clock's ticking, better hurry up.
Unfortunately,
and it's taken till now, and I kind of
that's very much the case, though, that it takes
absolutely
so long. And once you get to that point that they actually go, oh, hang on. And you go, I've been saying this for 20 years. And now all of a sudden you want to believe me. And but it is. It's all around the age thing, though. And that's exactly it. They go, oh, hang on. Maybe because she's coming to that age that she does actually, you know, have an opinion and have her own voice on this. And it is, I know what you mean. It's totally infuriating, right?
Yeah, it makes me look back though and think I kind of want to go back to everybody and be like, told you so. I told you when I was 20. Told ya. Still child free.
Exactly. I've been saying this for years. Why are you now listening?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but,
can I ask you a question around you? You met that. I know you got married last year.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you? Obviously, you knew that your husband had already had a couple of children. But did you have this discussion? This is probably getting a little bit personal. So if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. Right. But had you had that discussion before about, do you want more children? Is that something that you want? And what did that look like for you guys?
Well, my husband's about 12 years older than me, so I think, you know, it was in his mind that I wasn't as old as him and I hadn't had kids and perhaps I would want to. And he approached it, it was quite sweet. He approached it in a way of sort of, if you did want to have a baby, like I would do that with you. But you could kind of tell that he was hoping I would say I didn't want one. And I quite quickly said to him, I already told you I don't want kids, and I meant it. And I think that really sunk in with him, and that, you know, that was fine. But he definitely, you know, did double check, I think. And I think, you know, being he's happy with kids and everything. I just don't think he'd want more at this time in his life. You know, he's got a 21-year-old and a 20-year-old that, you know, he doesn't want a baby as well. But yeah, we did have to have that conversation, and he did, even though I had already told him. Even he thought that he'd better double check, you know, just in case I didn't know what I really wanted, I suppose, or, you know, that it was just talk. I've had that before. I've dated someone who, and I've always been incredibly upfront, especially as I got older and I, you know, looking to settle down. Just because I don't want kids doesn't mean I don't want to get married, doesn't mean I don't want a life partner. And people seem to think that that's what it means. It means we want to just be spinsters traveling the world having multiple affairs. No, I want that. I mean, maybe I want that too, but, you know, I like to, you know, settle down
Yeah.
and have a life partner and stuff as well. I just don't want the kids that you know, seemingly automatically come with that. But I've been always very upfront with people I've dated, and I remember someone who dated me for quite a few months, and I became quite attached to them and was getting quite into the relationship. And, you know, we had that sort of, well, where are we kind of going from here? And it turned out that he did want kids and did want to head in that direction, and thought that I would change my mind. And the amount of times that I went sort of through that as well was very upsetting, until I found, you know, my now husband, who was great, you know, and great, good for me, didn't want more children, and his kids are great. But yeah, it was really frustrating going through that process so many times, especially in the men who didn't believe that what I said I actually meant. Oh, she doesn't mean it, she just hasn't found the right man. How incredibly arrogant is that?
I know. You know what? I think that's a common thing, though, Claire. Yeah, I mean, it's a common thing, particularly when you're younger. I think that a lot of, firstly, a lot of men aren't as respectful, I suppose, as the guys that we have now that do really respect us and our opinions and what we do with our body. But I think a lot of men think, oh, yeah, all women want to get married and all women want to have kids, and all women, they want to sort of put all women in a bucket and go, well, yeah, but that's that. And a lot of it's probably based on their past experience as well.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what they're taught.
When we're younger, there is this expectation. Yeah. So there is this expectation of, especially in your early 20s, that we're going to, you know, we're going to have a relationship and we're going to date for a while, and then you're going to want to get serious and settle down, and then we'll, you know, get married and have kids, and then you do all that normal stuff. And I think that's certainly changing. Obviously the fact that now close to 1 in 4 women are choosing not to do that, but it can be a really hard thing, I suppose, to navigate in a relationship, you know, to go, well, when do I even pose these questions? How early on do I pose these questions? You know, when is too soon? How long do I leave it? Because I don't want to be dating someone for 6 months, 8 months, and then go, hang on, we're on two totally different worlds. I mean, that's really hard, right?
Absolutely. And I think, absolutely. And I think that came to a head for me because I actually dated someone for about 3 years and had always said, I don't want kids. Wow. And then we got to the end of 3 years, and he goes, I've come to the realization, actually, no. And I think I always knew I did want kids. I thought you'd change your mind. 3 years. So I got to a point where
3 years.
Yeah. 3 years. And I got to a point then where I probably brutally honest, straight up front, this is me, this is what I'm doing in my life. And if you seem really lovely, but if this is not what you think, then we're wasting time. And that, I don't know if that's just me being too upfront, but I honestly don't see the point in, you know, wasting that time, because I did it for a few years and then thought, you know, I could have been out looking for the same person who was on the same page as me, you know. But yeah, it can be incredibly hard, because it's an awkward thing to raise early on in a relationship. It's kind of, you don't want to scare someone off, but then at the same time, if you're on a different page, well, then you shouldn't perhaps be dating them anyway. So what's the matter if you scare them off? But, you know, dating's hard enough as it is.
Well, exactly that. There's got to be some mutual things in common there. And the baby conversation is such a huge one to be on the same page of. And I know I was very lucky. You know, I got married very young. But when, you know, we started to get serious and I had that conversation with Shane and went, honey, like, I don't want to have children. I'm not going to have children for you, your family, or anybody else. So if that's what you want, you know, I love you, but I love you enough to go, you go and do what you need to do if that's what you know you have to do, because it isn't going to happen with me. And he's probably quite rare, and his opinion has been very, very supportive in that. He goes, you know what? He goes, it's your body. It's your choice. You're the one that has to have the baby. You would be probably the primary caregiver. He goes, this decision is all yours. He said, I'm on board for whatever you want. So whether you want to have kids or don't have kids, he goes, I am fine either way. He said, you know, we've got nieces and nephews. We've got, you know, friends' kids. I can get that fix wherever. And it's interesting. We've checked in over the years, and he's always been like, I mean, we love our lifestyle and we would never change that. But, you know, it's one of those conversations that I always find really odd, I suppose, when I talk to people and they said, oh, you know, my husband and I never had that conversation before we got married, and then 2 years in, someone said, I want kids, and no one's going to have kids. It's like, how can you not have those conversations before you get this long-term relationship, you know? Like, to me, that's just dumbfounding.
I also find it's kind of reminded me as well of, like you said, you know, he said it's your choice, and you also said you love him enough to let him go to do, you know, if that's what he wants. And it's kind of a funny thing. It's like, we're not forcing our belief on you, you know, and I would never, and my a big thing for me is about respect, like for you, and respecting my choice. But I also respect other people's choices, and I've never once tried to convince someone that I've been seeing or anything that to not have children. But I've had so many people try and convince me that I should, you know, and I'm like,
that's
I respect
key point right there.
It's a huge, huge, huge part of your life. And I also would never, ever ask of someone to not have children, because I know what a huge thing it is for so many people. And I could never ask you to sacrifice that for me. But then I don't feel that you should ask me to sacrifice, for a want of a better word, what I want to do or what I don't want to do for you. You know, but I don't feel, you know, it was very rare to get that level of respect back. You know, I would let you go and be free and live your life.
But this is the thing though, Claire. It is two very different conversations, unfortunately. It's okay to say it on one side but not on the other. And that's exactly right what you just said. You know, we can ask people to, but, you know, just have one or just have two just for me. But then if I go, well, just have none for me, that's a totally different conversation or different dialogue. So why is one right and one not?
One wrong.
And it's I mean, some of the conversations that I've been having over the last couple of days around these topics have just blown my mind. And people go, oh wow, really? And you just go, how are these just not normal conversations that people are having in relationships? But you know, not everyone does, you know. So it's but I think, you know, the role that the guys play in this is a big role. I mean, I know that primarily everything usually comes down to a female and her choice, but so many men don't want children now as well, you know, and this is a massive responsibility, and so much resentment can be caused by one person saying that they really want one and the other one doesn't, and you know, like it's, you know, I mean, it just opens up a massive conversation, and this is why, you know, I want to have more of these types of conversations, because we all have these stories to bring, you know.
I find it really funny because, like, my sister's had my niece. My niece is now 9. My sister is happy with one child and only wants one child. And she gets shamed for only having one child. And I'm like, we can't win. You can have one.
No.
And she gets comments from people saying, oh, but isn't it so awful that she doesn't have anyone to play with, or she doesn't have a brother and sister to grow up with, or you know, she's home alone, and you know, I'm like, where does this end? Where does this sort of shaming of things end? You know, when you have 8, what is this perfect balance?
But unfortunately, that's part of the problem, though, is the judgment tends to come from other women. And whether you've got no children, 1 children, 5 children, 10 children, there's a judgment around
too many,
all of that.
Too little.
And that's what's got to change.
Absolutely. Right. Like, I've always said to my friends, you know, I'm happy that you're happy to have kids, and I'm happy that kids make you happy and make your life feel complete and all that sort of stuff. And don't worry about me, because my life feels complete and perfect as it is, you know, for me right now. There is whatever you want to do, and as many kids or as little kids as you want to have, that's great. But it often comes, and it's true, and most of the horrible comments, to be honest, have come from other ladies to me. Especially the thing that really really drove home a lot for me is telling me that I will never know truly know what love is. ever.
Oh,
I will never truly know what love is.
I know, that's a really,
me,
but it's a really hurtful comment to say to somebody.
It's so hurtful.
Like, how do you say that to someone else and say you? Like, it's a horrible comment to say.
I'm sure, like, a connection to a child, I'm sure is very deep and all that sort of stuff. It's not that you won't know what true love is. It's just you won't know what that kind of love is. And it's different. And who knows how that feels to each individual. And I mean, there's plenty of mothers and whatever out there who don't show any maternal love to their children either. So why is it that by default everyone's going to feel this amazing, earth-shattering, thing? I just don't think they are. And why is it that if you don't have kids, well, and this was the other thing that really drove home and probably upset me the most, was that my life wouldn't have meaning without a child.
Yeah, I'll do that one too. Yeah.
I'm like, my life is meaningless. I have contributed nothing to anything ever, like to society, to the world, nothing. I might as well have not existed, which is horrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
they are horrible. Probably and we can have this. I mean, I know, like, we're very much, I suppose, on the same wavelength. We've probably had very similar experiences and so forth, and we can certainly have. We can talk about this conversation for the next 3 days straight. There's a lot of that shared experience. But what I'd love to I suppose get from you, Claire, and get some more understanding from you, so we can share it out with other people, is we're both a little bit older, me more so older than you, but if you had your time back again and you were in your early 20s and you were navigating this conversation and maybe figuring out what it is that you wanted, or do I want kids, what advice would you give to someone that is in that age bracket now going, I just don't know what I want?
I probably did question a few times. I think I always innately knew, but people make you question yourself when they constantly badger you and say, this is what you should be doing. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? For me, and this might sound so silly, but I have done, I suppose it's almost like a visualization kind of thing, where I looked forward into my life and thought to myself, okay, at 80 years old or 90 years old or whatever, picture yourself, picture your life, picture what you want it to be. And do you look back and you're 80, 90 years old and you don't have kids and you don't have grandkids or anything, can you see yourself being okay with that? Can you see yourself knowing that was the right thing for you? Are you, in your mind, you're looking at your family, your friends, whatever, and they're having a family reunion and you're the one who doesn't have the kids, but you've got others around you and that sort of thing. Really think about whether when you get to the end of your life, or when you get to that older age, you're not going to know for sure, but you can have a serious think about it. When you get to 80 or 90 years old, are you going to be okay with the fact that you didn't have kids? Is that going to be okay with you?
Yeah.
And if you are really, really unsure, you need to think about it further. Yeah. And that's something I just kind of did with myself, because I thought, this is a lifelong choice. It is getting more so now, as it's going to be,
you can't change your mind.
Much harder to get pregnant. It's going to become a lifelong choice, and you need to know, and you need to really think about whether you're going to get to that age and have regret, or if you're going to get to that age and go, you know what, no, that's okay. And for me, I was able to really picture it in my mind, and picture my family and picture that around, and think, no, that's fine. That's okay with me. But that's what I did for myself. Was you've got to think about the end of your life, looking back, if you're going to have that regret or those sorts of things, and you're never going to know until you actually get there. But it helps. It helps you to think about it. Don't just think about the now, because it's a lifelong choice. Don't just think about, no, I don't. I'm 22. Oh, I'm not going to have kids. Whatever. it's a decision. It's a lifelong decision, you know. So you've got to be able to say at later in your life that you're happy with the choice that you made. Yeah. So that's what I did. That's
totally
what
agree.
I thought about.
I think I love that exercise. I think that's a great way of looking at it. And I know in my book, in the second half of the book, it's all about how to make those choices and exercises like that of trying different things and spending time with people with babies and all those types of things to really get an understanding of what that full picture looks like. Because it is hard when you don't have that, when you're going, well, I can imagine that this is what life looks like. But it is, I mean, if you're going through that decision of going, I have to really make this, you know, this life choice, it does really help to go through all these different exercises to understand it, because, you know, you can regret having them, you can regret not having them, you can, you know, there's regrets in everything in life, but I think the more you can be confident and sure that that's not what you want and live with that, then, you know, that's what you can do and as long as you can live with that and be happy, that's, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, isn't it? Just to have a good life and be happy and do what we want to do, you know.
And nobody has a crystal ball, and we're not going to know. But you just need to, I think, go through the exercises and know that you have done as much as you can to be aware of your choices, to know what you know, you've weighed up your options, you assess how you feel. You know, you're not picking, you know, what pasta you want for dinner. You've got to go also with how you feel about it. You know, it's not just this one's got pros and this one's got cons. You know, there's not just that. It's going to be how you feel about it. We don't have a crystal ball, but, you know, the best way that you can be comfortable in your choice is knowing that you've thought all of those things through and be aware and know that it is, you know, it is a lifelong decision. Or you're going to be, you know, quite an old mum. But yeah, that's what I kind of had to do for me. And as I said, I think I always knew that what the answer would be, but when you have so many people telling you that you're wrong and that you're going to change your mind, and I think everyone gets that, having those thoughts, those processes to kind of go through and weigh it up, really think about it and weigh it up is really good. And so you can then go and be confident in your decision and tell people with confidence that, no, actually, I do know what I want. And that really shuts people down quicker than being, oh, I'm not, you know, oh, I don't know, or maybe. I'm just like, nope, conversation over.
Well, and that's
talking
right.
About
that's
it
exactly right. I think when you're confident around that decision and you're very direct and you're just like, no, it's not what I want, compared to that, I'm not sure, haven't figured it out. It is.
Even if you do know, you feel bad saying no.
For people to go, oh, but you'll be so good at it and all, you know, all that sort of stuff as well.
And I probably did that myself a lot, because even though I wanted to say, no, that's not what I want, and I knew, I didn't say that because I felt like it was too confronting. It was, you know, I was going to get questions. People would think I'm a bad person. People think I'm horrible, you know, so I would pretend, oh yeah, I'm not sure, when in the back of my mind it was like, oh god, hell no. But it wasn't until I started saying that with confidence to people that I got to avoid some of those awkward conversations as well, which was good. It's kind of stopped the questioning and the convincing. Oh, the convincing. So many people take a lot of time out of their day to convince you to do what they have done. You know, I feel it's influencer marketing at its absolute best.
What I find very interesting about that is why people care so much about something that has no impact on them. So why are you spending all this time trying to convince me to do what you want me to do when I barely know you, and what I'm going to do has no impact on your life?
Oh,
I
know.
Find that whole scenario just so strange.
I've always found that incredibly interesting. I know. I've always found that really weird. I'm sort of like, what? Well, Janice, who I met 5 minutes ago at Woolies, why do you care? You know?
Thank you for sharing your opinion on childbirth with me. I really don't care.
Absolutely. And that I will never know love and my life is meaningless. That's lovely. Thanks very much. And it's funny because it's often been, I have it from just people I've known for a very short amount of time. Yeah, I do find it funny. I don't know why people seem to care so much about my life choice, and I'll probably never see you again. It's a strange thing, and I think it's conditioning. It's and you know what? I think there's some women that I've spoken to
with too.
And I think there are some women that I've spoken to over the years who've had children, who I've like said my piece wherever it's come up, who I think wished that they had the confidence to say the same, and they didn't.
I agree.
I think there's a level of like, damn, wish I had. So quick, Claire, better have kids. So I feel better about not being able to voice what I should have, in the past. So then they want you to have kids to make their choice.
It's not everyone's confident to do that, though. That's the difference.
No.
Not everyone has the confidence that we perhaps have, the strength that we perhaps have as well, to have those sorts of conversations and discussions and just go, no, that's not what I want. And that's probably why women can get into those situations, I think, because they go, oh, it's just easier if I just go along with it. And I'm certainly not saying that that's what everyone is doing.
No.
But that certainly is part of it. And I think there's certainly resentments, there's jealousies, there's all sorts of things where people go, oh my God, wow, look at what you're doing, and just go, that's amazing. But I'm like, well, go remember. And I say it all the time, it comes back to choice. You chose that. I've chosen this. We have very different lives. It doesn't mean my life's better than your life or vice versa. It just means that they are different.
We are fulfilled in different ways. Yeah. It's really funny because
exactly.
I was speaking with someone at work today who I didn't realize was, and it's great having these conversations. Like you said, there are other women out there who, for years, I didn't ever really speak publicly, about this kind of thing. But I was talking about yourself today, actually.
Yeah.
And a girlfriend at work piped up and turns out she's of the same mind. And she said, I've always felt like they're trying to convert me into their weird cult of motherhood, like making me join us, drink the Kool-Aid. And I thought that was such a good way of putting it. I was like, yeah, I get it. I get that. But I think like I said, our lives, we're just fulfilled in different ways. We're just different, people. But it's been so good, I think, and the media coverage and stuff that you got today and that sort of thing there are so many more women out there who think the way that we think, that we never speak publicly because it's shunned. We've been shunned in the past. But I've just I was able to watch your sunrise thing just now, which is great. I'm so glad I got to see it. And
thank you.
As Koshi said, like, really in this day and age, people are still
in this day and age, right?
Yeah. Yep. 100% they are. This is a new public conversation.
And I was asked a similar thing on ABC as well. So that question has come up actually a few times in the last couple of days, and it's just like, yes, unfortunately, it is still happening, and we would have thought that yes, we should be over it. We've got women's lib and feminism and the sisterhood and all these things, but it's just as prevalent now as it has ever been, unfortunately. And that's the whole reason around the conversations in the book and all this sort of stuff, is to say, hey, stop asking those questions, because some of those questions are really hurtful, they're offensive, they're uninformed, and the conversation needs to change, and that's what I'm trying to do with all of this.
Yeah, and this is the first time, like, personally, that I've seen like this conversation public. There's a few groups here and there and that sort of thing, but in Australia, where I live and whatever else, this conversation hasn't been as exposed and as public as it is now, thanks to people like yourself. And it's awesome, and it's opening up more conversations for more people, like my friends at work, who now felt a bit more confident today to speak their mind and be able to say, yeah, no, it's not for me either. And I'm like, there's more of us. We're everywhere. We just haven't had we've just been underground. Yeah, typical. We've just been
Let's get them
underground
in the local.
for so long.
I love it. But
Mm.
that's what I love about these conversations, though, is the fact that, and, you know, I had women reach out to me on LinkedIn and other that just direct message me and so forth and said, thank you. You know, I'm this age, or I'm this age, and to hear these conversations. Even I had a couple of mums reach out to me and say, I'm a really happy mum, but it's really great to hear these conversations and these things happening, because I know that that's not for everybody. And that's what we want. I mean, I want all these conversations to be out. I want those sorts of, exactly what happened to you today. I want those types of conversations to be happening in the office where someone goes, actually, yeah, I'm on board with that. Like, that's what I want for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's fabulous. So thank you for sharing that with me.
No, that's all right.
Because I just think this is why all this is worthwhile, is because we can have this conversation and make change, you know?
Yeah, no, and it's good.
Excellent.
It's, you know, it stimulated our conversation and made me discover, you know, there are so many other women I now know of that feel the same way, and I finally don't feel alienated and separated and alone in my thoughts. And, you know, it's nice to feel like I have my own little sisterhood group as well. There's a lot of motherhood groups out there, you know, there's a lot of mothers groups and mums and babies groups and all that. And I'm like, I need the non-mothers group to be a part of, because I'm feeling a little bit alone out here on the edges. Yeah. No, so it's been great.
Thank you.
No worries.
Excellent. Well, we can, as I said before, I mean, we can certainly talk about this topic for a very long time. And one of the things I'm actually planning on doing, and I've been sort of working on it between interviews and so forth today, is putting together some sort of an event where we really have much more around this conversation, have women coming together, talking about their experiences, whether they want kids or not have kids, haven't decided, whatever that might be, and really sort of opening up this dialogue. So I will definitely keep you across that, because I'd love you to be there, because I know you can contribute so much to the conversation. So, but thank you so much for taking some time out after your very busy day at work today. And coming and having this conversation. You know, I love all this sort of stuff, and I can do all this stuff all the time. So, but thank you. You need to go and get yourself some wine and some champagne, though. Okay?
No, I know. I'm gonna go tend to my baby, my cat.
Your fur baby. Your fur baby, or your boy baby?
Yeah, I'm amazed that she hasn't been screaming in the background, because I haven't fed her yet. So. But she's the only little baby. I do get accused of loving her more than I love my husband, but she's the only baby I'm going to have. So, you know, she gets spoiled.
That's fine. I totally relate to that. It's all good.
All right.
Great.
Thank you, Tanya.
To you, Claire. Have a fabulous night. Let's check in again soon, and I'll chat to you soon.
No worries. See you.